Hey, y'all. It's your girl Malika, your money management mentor. How's everyone doing on today? It is raining over here, which is just absolutely great for me because people like sunny days. I like rain. I mean, sunny days are great and everything, but something about that rain, it's just very calming, puts me in a relaxing place. I love my rainy days, but too, I like water. So, rain, showers, warm bubble baths, pools, beaches. I love them. That's just my space. That's my spot, right? And so that's probably why, I keep bringing it up about doing my money talks and, money mentorships on the beaches of the world somewhere. So if you want to host your money party or your money mentorship session on a beach, let me know. Drop that beach emoji in the comments and we can get it rolling. Because I absolutely love water. So me talking about finances on the water, in the water, just, music to my ears. But yeah, it is an amazing day. And I, wanted to come to y'all today as a sort of a part two to last week, where I, gave y'all a little bit of the backstory about how I got out of debt and started saving and investing, right? And then started to mentor other people. And so I wanted to dive a little deeper into that and give you a little bit more, actionable steps you can take when it comes to crushing that debt. Let's get out of debt, right? Let's, use our money for what we want to use it for instead of paying off these companies, right? I could use my funds better to travel with, better invest in my business, without all the extra debt, right? And so let's crush some debt today. And so as if you didn't watch my live from last week, go back and check it out. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Jam packed with some gems, if I do say so myself. So go check it out. But from that live, I spoke about how I got started, and so that's the first thing when it comes to getting started is the education piece, right? So I started by reading a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and you can grab that book, but there's so many money and finance books out there. Just start with, grabbing the book, reading up on some things, right? And I started with that, and then, started taking some courses, and there's so many courses out there, should you decide that you want to take a course. And for me, I actually turned my car into like my university, my college, where I was learning while driving, because back then CDs were still popular. Maybe I'm dating myself a little bit, but CDs were still popular. And so I would pop the CD in there and just kind of listen to financial information, and listen to what steps I could take in order to, improve my finances. And as soon as I either got to work or got home, started implementing or, put it on my schedule to implement. Y'all don't tell my job, my old job, I was doing it. No, I don't work there no more. I don't really care. But, yeah, I would implement, and I'm not even going to, I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's another tip for you. Another tip that I have for you is find a day where you are consistently implementing this information. For me, I ain't even gonna lie to you, my schedule was whenever I got paid on that day, I had an hour, whether I was at work or off. I sat down for an hour and adjusted my tracking system, paid off some debt, paid some bills. That was my time. That's how I stayed consistent. Every time I got paid, it was the day that I sat down and looked at my finances, right? And so, and that's how I was able to develop a sense of consistency, right? But before we even get to that, backing up a little bit is, once I started getting the education, started implementing. And the first thing for me that was a benefit to me, and I wholeheartedly believe it's a benefit to most people, is to have a written way to track your finances. A lot of people is mental, is right here. I know what my bills are. I know the things I have to pay for. But you probably forgot the thing that you paid for last week, right? Or, you went and bought something, you was at the cash register and you just threw something in the buggy and you didn't account for that later, you probably forgot all about it. And so, having a written way to track that information is a game changer. That for me was game changer. Once I started that, everything else was a wrap. I started achieving goals. I started saving. I started investing because I had a written tracker for my finances, right? And so the next part of having that written tracker is tracking everything, right? I'm familiar with a lot of people who track my bills. Or I'm doing a savings challenge, or I'm making sure I pay off all of my debt. I know how much my debt is. I know the debt I have to pay each month. Put it all together. Track all of it, right? Not just one piece, not just this part that I'm focusing on here and leaving the rest. Me being Malika, I am very much I can't just do one thing and leave something else out. I have to do everything, right? And so while I was on my journey, I know a lot of people talk about, doing something first and then going to moving into another phase later. I was doing it all. Maybe not at the same, capacity in each season, but I was doing it all. So I was paying my bills, I was paying off debt, I was saving and investing all at the same time. Now the percentages that I was doing changed over time, but I was doing it all, and I was able to, hold on, my baby woken up. Hold on, y'all get to see Maxie Poo today. Hey, Maxie Poo. So yeah, I was able to do some, in the different categories, mainly because I had a written way of tracking all of this information in one spot, right? I wasn't all over the place. And so having this written tracker allowed me to see what was possible. And what I found was doing bits and pieces here and there was more possible than I thought it was when I was just focused on, paying bills here and then just spending there, right? And so having that written plan is super beneficial to, your financial journey and crushing debt, right? And so, and I know a lot of people, stray away from having a written one because they don't want to face those numbers. But let me tell you, while you may think it's the hard part, what's even harder is being 5 or 10 years down the road and still battling with improving your finances, still battling with paying off debt, right? Like I have a little one, and if you are like me, you want to have generational wealth. You want to leave a legacy. It's hard for me to think about my children and look at them and say, I'm not going to face my finances because, it's hard for me to look at them and say, you're not worth me looking at my finances and figuring out how I can leave some generational wealth and figuring out how to, create a legacy for you, right? Especially knowing what I've been through, paying off student loan debts, right? Feeling like I'm behind in investing in things, right? Knowing that, it's even harder to look at them and say, I'm gonna keep putting it off when I know I want so much for them, right? And so I, choose to face my finances and my money, on a consistent basis for them, It's not necessarily even for me. It's for them, right? Yes, sir. What's up? What's up? Okay, what's up? You just a twisting in the third. What's your matter? You want this? You want pacifier? Okay, here we go. All right. And so, yes, my babies are truly worth it in order for me to face my finances, right? And to do the work of being consistent and tracking them each month so I know what I can do, right? And so the other part of, finances, not only am I tracking them, but I have goals, right? And I've calculated my numbers, for me on that journey, calculating how much debt I had, calculating how much extra income I had to put towards debt, so I knew about when I was going to pay them off, right? It made it a little easier to know, oh, I'm getting closer to that date. I'm getting closer to that date. I'm going to have more money to save. I'm going to have more money to invest the closer I get to this date, right? Oh, I paid this off. Let's celebrate, right? It made it a whole lot easier to keep going on this journey and to crush that debt. Right? And back then I didn't have children. So I needed that motivation. I needed that, that information to keep me going. I needed to know, and me being me. I am dedicated to doing my best. And if my best means going above and beyond, I'm dedicated to it, right? And so I'll even say it gave me a date, what year I was supposed to be out of date. And I remember when I calculated it up, I said the devil is a lie. Because honestly, y'all, it told me I was supposed to just be getting out of debt 3 years ago. The devil is a lie. I was just like, yeah, that ain't happening. I'm not going to be in debt that long. And so I made some changes in order to be able to beat that date. But yes, calculating that information, calculating how much debt I had, calculating how much money I wanted to save, calculating, how much money I wanted to put towards investments, right? All of that stuff all of those numbers were important when it came to crushing debt and being debt free. Right. And, what I found along my journey was, it was hard to do. And it became easier once I started talking to other people about it who was in a similar mindset as me or who had already done it. Right. And so I started getting coaches and I started to get accountability partners who were going along on this journey with me, and we celebrated together, right? I remember that day I paid off my last car payment. It was like it was yesterday. I was at work and me and my accountability partner was shouting like we was in somebody's church. You hear me? Like it was an amazing feeling, right? And I knew it was coming, because I had been calculating that information. And she was a reminder to me, to keep the course, to stay the course, not veer away from it, and whenever I got stressed out or I got upset about something that, I chose not to do because I was choosing to stay focused on my finances, she was there to encourage me. Like I remember just like it was yesterday. It was one time, one of my old classmates had said, she was taking a trip. I think it was to, the Bahamas or something. And I wanted to go so bad. I remember talking with you yesterday. I wanted to go so bad, but I knew what I wanted to do with my finances. I knew, I wanted to be able to invest soon, right? At that time, I knew I wanted to be able to invest more sooner. And so I had to tell her no, I couldn't go. And when I told her that, after I sent that text message, I dropped my phone on that desk. I sat back and was pouting. My accountability partner, who was also my coworker, looked at me like, "What is wrong with you?" I said, yeah, as much as I love to travel, I can't go, and I really want to go. And she's just like, "So is it worth it though? Is it going to be worth it?" And I will say this, looking back at it, as much as I would have spent on that trip, it wasn't worth, being able to use that money to pay off debt faster so that I can invest. But there are some things, some things you can do and still purchase. You don't have to necessarily cut back on every, extra expense because you're on this journey. Because some things aren't going to make, change your trajectory too much, right? So you're in debt another month, right? Is it that big of a deal? So you are in debt, Oh, what's the matter with my Pookie? What's the matter? Mommy talking and not talking to you? Yeah, but yeah. So you are, in debt another week, another month. If it's only gonna push it back by a week or a month or so, enjoy it. But those thousands of dollars that I was going to pay for that trip, that was thousands of dollars that for me turned into thousands of dollars to be able to make a passive income, right? And so it was very well worth it for me to say, I'll skip this trip for the opportunity to sit home now and be able to pacify my baby, versus being at a job and he being in daycare somewhere, right? So it was absolutely worth it, but at the time it was a hard decision to make, right? And so, but crushing debt can be it can be made a whole lot easier. And one of the things I do as part of my Money Party program is help you make it easier, right? Because I'll tell you why I'm laughing in a second. But a lot of people say math isn't their thing, right? But I'll put a dollar sign in front of it for you and make it a little easier. I got that from Nat Bull, and she says, people says they don't do money, they don't do math until you put a dollar sign in front of it, and then everybody understand it. But it is true. Who does not understand their money, right? You put a dollar sign in front of it, and if we don't understand it, we're trying to figure it out. And so one of the things I do in my program is make it easier for you. I give you the guidance that's necessary to go from not having a plan to tracking and paying off debt and saving, right? And help you get started with investing. I give you the tools and the resources to be able to do so, and then I give you support and accountability, and encouragement along the way. And we celebrate, because I am big on celebrating. That's why it's called a party, because we're going to celebrate. We are going to celebrate. I wholeheartedly feel like a lot of us do not celebrate enough. We do not celebrate ourselves enough. Right? And so I make it a point in my program to celebrate you, celebrate your accomplishments. So I have people out there now who, whenever they tell me about what they accomplished, I'm celebrating with them, right? Because I know, again, we don't celebrate ourselves enough. And I know the impact it has when somebody celebrates with you, right? And so, if you would like to crush debt and have some financial freedom, I encourage you, I invite you, DM me, drop the party emoji in the comments and let me know I'm ready to party. I'm ready to have my money party. Let's get started, right? Again, DM me, drop that money party, that party emoji in the comments, and we can get you started and we can get you on your way to financial freedom. Again, I'm your girl, Malika, your money management mentor, here with old Maxie Pooh. And we are wishing you a great day. See y'all later.